Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
You've seen the sights on your TV. Now come and experience them in real life. Hi, it's Kristen Gates from iHeartMedia. Some of your favorite shows were filmed in Covington, Georgia. So come walk where the stars have walked from shows like The Vampire Diaries, The Dukes of Hazzard, and so many more. When you think of great stories and iconic films and TV sets, discover Covington and visit discovercovingtonga.com. That's discovercovingtonga.com. Take the tour and walk where the stars have walked in Covington, Georgia.
Times of old, in times of new, there's a God to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field,
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode in Season 3, still brand new here on the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, military, and pop culture. We are excited, as we always are, because making these episodes isn't work. It is all play.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, it is. And today is no different than any other episode because it's going to be packed with awesome movies, awesome TV shows, games, and most importantly, awesome banter from yours truly and
That's right.
Izzy.
That's what you come to hear, folks. All right. You don't come to hear about the movies. You come to hear us talk about the movies. And if you want to get the full experience, folks, we cannot recommend highly enough coming to our Patreon. We got a great community there, great group of people, and amazing content. You get full episodes, extra episodes, and then we do a live stream where we watch a movie on our Discord every month. It's a great time. We hope you can join us. Go check out PCFM Podcast on Patreon, baby.
Oh, yeah. Would love to have you guys a part of it. Not only do you get all that jazz, but you also get access to a exclusive Discord server for our lifer tiers, where, just like Izzy said, the community is awesome. Plus, Izzy and I like to post on Patreon that we don't typically post on our personal profiles. So you get a little bit more of a look into our military stuff and what we got going on now. So it is an awesome time. But with that out of the way, today's episode is all about executive protection and bodyguards, baby.
Yes,
often
that's right.
overlooked. Very often overlooked. Honestly, the most glorious job there is. I only say that because when I got out of the Army, I worked in executive protection. So I kind of get what it's like.
It's not as glamorous as you might. It's not like Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston style, where you're running and gunning and there's like a murder mystery going on.
No, man. It's typically, it's very boring. I mean, you get to wear the fancy suit and tie, and if you're qualified to, you can carry your firearm, which for my job, I was qualified to carry my firearm. So I did personal security for a very rich person in Los Angeles, where you drove her around. I'm giving out too many details, but I drove them around. And, you as executive protection, you are more or less a glorified, like, housemaid / errand boy. So, I mean, my client was... didn't have that much of a threat against them. They had a crazy ex that they were worried about coming around. But like they were paid off a lot of money in the divorce. So they were not coming around for a long time until they ran out. I mean, most of my time spent as an executive protection bodyguard, I was just a glorified dog sitter. So I trained her dogs and like taught them, I potty trained them and like taught them how to, poop. It was very interesting. We taught this dog how to ring a doorbell. There was like a little bell on the door, and when it wanted to go outside to poop, it would go up to and ring the bell, and that's how it would communicate that it needs to go outside. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool achievement, to be honest. But I also did active shooter mitigation at a private school in Los Angeles. where I was armed security there.
Not something that's completely outside of the realm of possibility.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. I think it was a great idea because it's not like we were there in full body armor and whatnot. I was wearing a suit and tie. I was carrying a weapon, but it was concealed in my suit. And pretty much I would stay, there would be two of us, and I would stay in the front entrance, the main entrance, and then we'd have their actual school security guard that wasn't armed at like a back entrance. So basically anybody that wanted to enter the school would have to go through me first and check in, and I'd have to check their IDs and make sure they're part of the school. But yeah, it was cool doing it, but it was boring as hell. There's not a, obviously there's stuff that can happen, and it's better to have and not need than to need and not have, I always say.
Yep.
But, a lot of people think you're constantly like, ducking in clients into the door while people are trying to assault them. But
it's like
very
Taken
rare
style action.
Yeah, it's very rare. And, some companies pay a lot, but mine didn't. So,
well, that is one of those professions, executive protection, that a lot of veterans go into afterwards, like
easy
yourself.
Transition.
It's easy transition. Yeah. And I think they tend to smile on applicants that have military experience.
Absolutely.
Hopefully because there's that discipline and that firearms familiarity there and situational awareness.
Plus just a situation, like most of the job is situational awareness. Mm-hmm. You can't just be lollygagging on the job. You have to be constantly aware of the surroundings, like who's around your client, like kind of reading body language and intentions. So there's a lot that goes into it, and you can make a lot of money doing it. Like I know some dudes, but it's a very hard job to do as a family man, because a lot of these clients want you to go with them everywhere. So like, some dudes, like I had a buddy that worked for a very, very high profile client in Las Vegas who owned one of the biggest hotels on the strip. And he would have to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And it's like you're with that client 24/7 when you're on. But then again, he was making like $200,000 a year doing that. So there's a lot of money in it, but if you're obviously a family guy, it's really hard to start a family when your client has needs too. You almost become part of the client's family as well.
Right.
Because you're constantly around them. But that is a little bit of my experience. Have you ever done any security type stuff when you got out, or no, you just were acting it up?
No, man. Yeah. I like I said, like to say, I did a brain dump after I got out of the military in late 2009, early 2010 time period. I'm like, I'm done. I did it. I'm going to go off and live my life. Little did I know that would be the main kind of, highlight on my resume that would give me any opportunity that I had in the acting industry, was because I was former military. And now I've come to appreciate it a lot more than I used to. I thought back then I was like, whatever. And that was fun. I did that for a couple of years. Now I'm going to go be a famous actor. And that didn't.
And now you're just a super famous podcaster and YouTube
now I'm just
personality.
A super famous podcaster. That's right. Thanks to my military career and all of your support. By the way, before we jump into all of our content today, special shout out to Ismail, who actually emailed us with this episode suggestion. Guys, we do read your emails, and we check your DMs on the Instagram for the PCFM podcast. And if you DM myself or Cameron, we do eventually get around to that stuff. So thank you for the suggestion on the episode today. Actually, this is what gave us the idea. So
yeah, I know. So with that, you want to dive right in, man?
Let's do it, man. Why don't you kick it off, man? What do you got on this list that's like that you're really itching to talk about?
Ooh, good question. Well, I mean, there's a couple of really good ones on here. I wanted to highlight these two. I'm going to start out with two because when I was doing research for this, they kind of are literally the same exact movie that came out the same exact year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's funny how that happens.
Yeah, I don't know how they I don't know if there's like this, kind of barrier or filtration system in place in Hollywood where they're like, no, you can't release this movie because we're making a movie exactly like it. So you have to wait a year or two. But no, these two movies came out same year, 2013, and literally have the same exact plot. And these two movies are White House Down with Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx, and Olympus Has Fallen with Aaron Eckhart and Gerald Butler.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally the exact same movie.
Like that, the White House gets attacked and the protector has to keep the president safe.
Yeah, basically, let me read both these movie descriptions, and you tell me if there's, major differences between the two. We'll start with White House Down. Capitol Police Officer John Cale Channing Tatum has just denied his dream job of protecting President James Sawyer. As a member of the Secret Service, not wanting to disappoint his young daughter with the bad news, Cale takes her on a tour of the White House. While he and his daughter are there, a heavily armed paramilitary group attacks and seizes control. As the nation's government dissolves in chaos, only Cale can save his daughter and the president of the country. Okay.
So it's not just the president, it's his daughter as well.
It's his daughter and the president. But Olympus has fallen. The unthinkable happens when a heavily armed and highly trained terrorist launch a bold daytime attack on the White House. The building is overrun. President Benjamin Asher, Aaron Eckert, and his staff are taken hostage. Luckily, as Asher, former president security officer Mike Banning, Gerald Butler, is on the scene. With time running out, it is up to Banning to locate Asher's son before the extremists do and rescue the presidents before his captors unleash their own.
It's literally this. The only difference I see is that instead of his son, it's his daughter. Instead of a daughter, it's a son. In the other movie,
Yeah, and it's a former security officer, and then also a guy that wants to be that is offered security position but denies it. They are so close. They are so close. Have you seen? I
haven't seen either of those. These because of. Maybe it's because they both came out about the same time. It was like,
which one do I watch? And you're like, it's too overwhelming, so I just won't watch any of it.
Well, it just didn't seem interesting. I'm like, oh, that's kind of generic. And I'm not a fan of Channing Tatum or Aaron Eckhart or Gerard Butler or Jamie Foxx, but it's just like at the time, what was I doing in 2013? I just think I had better things to do with my time. I'm not going to go spend $24 to see the same movie, I was to see one movie. I'm certainly not going to spend it again to see the exact same kind of movie.
Yeah, no. I mean, at least you can kind of tell out of the two which one did a little bit more successful because Olympus Has Fallen turned into a chain with, they had three of them, right?
Olympus
Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, and
then something has fallen.
Something else fell.
Something fell.
But yeah, White House Down, they don't have a White House Down again.
Yeah. White House Down to Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. But no, I think Olympus Has Fallen was entertaining. And plus, obviously, there's little brownie points there because Gerald Butler's character, his background is an Army Ranger. So obviously you have to go watch that if you're in my shoes. But yeah, no, it was actually really good. And I think why am I blanking on his name?
Angel Has Fallen, by the way. That was the
Angel
last one.
Has Fallen, yeah.
You
have
Olympus,
Morgan
London,
Freeman, who ends up becoming the president in the following one, because I think Aaron Eckert's character actually dies.
So, he's still in he's in the second one. I don't know did he die in the second one?
I don't know. I thought Aaron Eckert's character dies, and that's when Morgan Freeman is like the vice president and takes the presidency, and that's what the next one is about.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think Olympus Has Fallen was way more entertaining than White House Down. Because it's like, obviously, these two identical movies are competing for the box office, and I definitely think Olympus Has Fallen has won.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think Gerald Butler is a little bit more believable actor in his position than Channing Tatum, which, when did Magic Mike come out?
Magic Mike? Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know. Yeah. Magic Mike was, they both have these franchises, that they are heading up, and Channing Tatum has the Magic Mike series. 2012, 2015,
2012 came out right before that, so it's probably like, why is Magic Mike, why is this ex-male stripper, in the White House?
That was the job he got after stripping didn't work out for him, was executive protection.
Yeah, White House exec.
Yeah.
But yeah, Secret Service, just total operator from strip clubs to Secret Service.
Gerard Butler he's kind of solidified himself. We really like our middle-aged to kind of upper middle-aged action heroes. That's really like a genre. There's Taken, there's London Has Fallen series, there's The Expendables. There's like kind of like we like our older men in action roles. And
it's
I guess
like it's very nostalgic, huh? When you see like these former action, just like talking about The Expendables, people love that movie just because of the cast.
Yeah. I think that was the main draw of The Expendables in particular. There's got to be something about older men as protectors. where it was really prominent in the 80s action movies where the dudes, like the big muscly dudes. And then we kind of got away from that. We went through like our sparkly vampire phase. But then there's this like subset of culture that still likes these older men as protectors. I guess maybe a few or women as protectors too, a little bit. There's been a few action movies that are basically, it's basically the same kind of stuff, but it's just a woman in the role, like Atomic Blonde, or there was that missile defense Netflix movie with Chris Hemsworth's wife's. She's in it. And then there was another one called, I think, Close with Noomi Rapace that I didn't see, so we're not going to get to it in this episode. But it's another protection. Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah, Battle Angel.
Yeah, that's a little bit there. That's more like she's a younger girl, sci-fi, female lead. But I was thinking of like the physical. I'm just thinking of the physically demanding action hero stuff, like Extraction, but with a lady in the lead.
Yeah, no, I got you, but I disagree. But okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So, hey, I love Alita. I love that movie.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen it, so I can't argue with you.
Oh well, then never mind. Get out of here.
For some reason, it just popped in my head because I was scrolling through one streaming platform the other day, and it just popped up, and I was like, "Huh, I haven't seen that." Okay, next one. But dude. So White House Down, Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah, I think those are two. I mean, Secret Service. That's kind of like the highest level of executive protection slash like quote unquote bodyguard you can actually have. Yeah. But what about like some private sectors? What about some? Some a little lower level, not quite Secret Service, but some private security companies? You got any here?
We've got two here, and I'm going to have to choose the one that it wouldn't be a bodyguard episode if we didn't talk about the movie The Bodyguard from 1992, starring Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. Like, this is the quintessential bodyguard movie. So he's basically, Kevin Costner plays a former Secret Service agent who takes a job of being the bodyguard of Whitney Houston, who plays an R&B singer. She basically, she doesn't play herself, but she plays the same role that she obviously had in real life, which she was a pop singer. But she plays like this arrogant, she's full of herself
Rachel
style
Moran?
person. Yeah, she's very entitled, insular lifestyle. She's kind of protected by her handlers and stuff, and she doesn't really understand really the danger that she's in. But Kevin Costner's brought in by, I think his friend works for Whitney Houston's character, and then the big crux of the movie is that you never fall in love, and they end up falling in love and having a relationship, and that complicates things. But there's like a bit of intrigue and mystery to it because there's somebody that's stalking her, but then it maybe it's somebody on the inside. It ends up being one of his friends who's also an executive protection person who's like after her for I forget even the reason why he's trying to kill her, but anyway, but Kevin Costner is there, and it's when Bodyguard, when Kevin Costner was like in his prime, and Whitney Houston, she didn't do a lot of acting roles. This was kind of, I think this might have been the first acting role that she took, but this was when she was in her prime too. She was on top of the world. She's the voice. She's a diva, and I thought it was very entertaining, very well done. I don't think she's the best actress, but I thought she did pretty well in this role.
That she's not an actress. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like our universe. We're like, for our YouTube, we're not anybody else but ourselves, so it makes it easy, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
So
exactly.
she literally just has to change her name and be herself in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty much. Yeah. At the beginning, she doesn't understand that her life really is in danger. And then there are a few scary moments that help her to realize that she's not, that she needs him there. At first, she treats him very disrespectfully and dismisses his suggestions. He notices her property is like totally not suited for her protection.
Yeah.
There's too many ways that people could get in. There's not enough security cameras. And then like, I think there's like, she does like a concert when she's not supposed to, in this like private venue, and people grab her, she almost gets like taken off stage, and he has to pull her out of there and stuff. And so she starts to understand. And then eventually, he said that the whole like tagline of the marketing was like, there are rules that you follow when you're a bodyguard. And then like the main one's like, never fall in love. And it's because, he ends up compromising his mind. He can't think straight.
Yeah, he can't do his job because he's too too clouded with his desire for his client.
Yeah, exactly.
No, man, that's good. I want to talk about this one because I think, coming back for a little bit more excitement here,
Yeah.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
This
he's
is the
totally a
ultimate
bodyguard.
Bodyguard,
He's ultimate bodyguard. You forget the Secret Service. Let's go, get somebody from the future
Robot
that wanted
from
to
the
kill
future.
me.
Yeah.
And now he's like, on my side.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the best Terminator there is, I think. Terminator 2 is the best one out of every single Terminator that came.
We kind of like the first one was great. This was like a peak, and then it's like a sharp downhill slope in quality after this. And it never recovers. It just drives further in. We're past the crust of the Earth. We're into the molten core in terms of the slope, just driving down. And it finally lands in the molten center of the Earth with Dark Fate. But this one was amazing because it's just pretty much the same. It's the same story, only James Cameron could tell the same story, but slightly different. This is what he's always said in his interviews. He's like, with the sequel, you want to give him the same thing, but something different, slightly different. And this one, instead of the Terminator being the attacker, there's another Terminator. Yeah. He's the protagonist. He's the protector. And then there's another Terminator, a liquid metal Terminator.
The liquid metal Terminator guy that you can shoot him and he can come back and try to kill you with his spiky arms because he doesn't have guns because I'm Arnold and I have guns and my guns are bigger than his.
Guns. The mini gun.
Austrian guns.
Yeah, the Austrian oak. I think they called him when he was doing his weightlifting days. Did you ever see Pumping Iron?
Of course. When I'm lifting, it feels like I'm coming. I'm coming over here. I'm coming over there.
Everybody was doing the steroids back then.
I can smoke my stogie anywhere I want. Who are you? Not like you. That's not from Pumping Iron, but that's just classic Arnold. Getting off the train track. But yeah, Terminator 2 honestly is that's the one I remember when I say Terminator.
Yep.
Or at least I think of Terminator. I always, if I recommend, I'm like, hey, you want to go watch Terminator? Yeah. Which one are you going to put on? Terminator 2 obviously is the one I put on.
Did you see the first one?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you see the second one first?
Is I saw the second one first.
You did? Okay. All right.
And then I saw the first one after, and I'm like, wait, what? Why is he trying to kill him now? So I always thought that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the protagonist in the entire series, and he wasn't. Because in the first Terminator, he doesn't say a word, right? He doesn't.
He has a couple words. Yeah, he says a couple, but he's mostly just this silent guy, just silent stalking menace. Yeah, and I loved. I mean, the cool thing about I actually saw the first one in the theater. My parents let me see everything. The only thing I couldn't see was boobs. I couldn't see any boobs. I could see violence and gore. But
isn't there boobs in Terminator?
There's a few boobs. Yeah, there's a sex scene because they have to have sex because she has to get pregnant with the savior of the human race. But Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton's character, she's like this mousy little insecure, doesn't very not confident and unsure of herself in the first movie, and by the end of the first movie, she has to push forward and push through. She's getting him up onto your feet, soldier. She's getting Kyle Reese up, played by Michael Biehn. But anyway, I love her transformation in the second one. She just gets ripped. She gets ripped,
and she's in the crazy loony bin.
She's leaned out. Yeah. Oh God, it's good. Yeah. Yeah. But fun fact though, in Terminator Dark Fate, which is a horrible movie, there's that scene in the beginning, where it's like a flashback and they're in Mexico and everything's fine. It's after the events of Judgment Day, and she's there and they do like the de-aging thing on her. Well, what they did is they got a body double to do the acting, and then they replaced that body double's face with young Linda Hamilton's face. That body double is my friend Maddie Curley. Who was a fellow coach. She's a CrossFitter.
Oh, yeah, I know gymnast. Maddie. We used to work out at the same gym.
That's right. Yeah, over there in the valley. But, she was the body double. So when you see that body of Linda Hamilton in that flashback scene, that's Maddie Curley's body.
Oh,
she got
no
to go
way.
There
Man, I didn't know they were like built the same. But that's cool, dude. I had no idea. That's really cool. I always wondered how they did like that deep fake face swap. I always thought it was the original because I saw the trailer for the new Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. They do some de-aging in that one.
Oh yeah, they do some gnarly de-aging in that one. So I'm like, I always, and plus like the, with the Mandalorian and Luke Skywalker coming in and having his deep fake, because I mean, he's obviously
which looked
super
amazing.
Old now.
Yeah,
amazing technology. I always wondered how they do that. If it's like the original actor, but then they just de-age him more. I guess it's like you said, they get in somebody with the body type they had when they were young, and they just CGI the face. Because I'm sure it's way harder. Yeah, it's way harder to CGI the entire body shape because when you age, you start sagging places.
Yeah. I'm sure that, I'd like to know how they actually, for the de-aging stuff with Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian season 2, I think they did it once, the episode that we saw, and then there was like some guy did it like better, and then I think they hired that guy.
Right? He like redid it in his fun time, and they actually hired that guy, right? To do the rest
I think that's the deep fake for the Mandalorian or for Boba Fett when they go.
Because it's much better in Boba Fett. It's like flawless in Boba Fett. You don't believe what you're watching. You're like,
it's that uncanny valley is very, very thin, but ultimately. Back to Terminator.
Back
2,
to executive protection.
Day 91. I also saw this in theaters as well when it first came out. But Arnold is the protector now, and Sarah Connor is totally messed up. This is one thing that James Cameron has always done well when it comes to this quote unquote strong female characters, is he gives them flaws and he makes them a little bit broken so that they have like they have a character journey, something that they have to get over,
Well, I think that's the best that's the best recipe right there. Even in male characters, like nobody's perfect, right?
Yes,
and I mean, the whole purpose of like this character journey is you need to connect with the audience, and there are no perfect people out there. So you need to put some sort of personality struggle or morality struggle within these people to make them relatable, and ultimately give them the best connection to the audience you can. And I think they did it so good with Sarah Connor because she's crazy. She's great. She's strong. She's everything that we want a ranger to be. She's vicious. She's strong. She loves the PT in her free time. But, ultimately not that good of a person.
Right. Yeah. And her journey is that she needs to reconnect and become a mother again to her son, John, because that's what he really needs. And she even says it when it comes to Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Terminator. In the voiceover, she sees the T-800 interacting with John, and she realizes that it's the perfect protector. Like, it'll never sleep. It'll never stop protecting him. It'll never get tired or yell at him or whatever. But then ultimately, kind of towards the end, we see a little bit of humanity with Arnold Schwarzenegger with the Terminator,
It's where a little self-sacrifice action.
Yeah, self-sacrifice. He does the ultimate sacrifice, and he's like, he sees him crying. He's like, I know why you're crying, but I can never do that, But he ultimately really, he does show some humanity. And by the way, I'm playing Doom 2016 for the PS4 on stream now on Fridays, twitch.tv/myhappyself. There's you're on Mars, and there's portions where there's scaffolding and there's lava you can fall into. If you fall into the lava, if your character dies, if Doom Guy dies, as he dies, you could see his hands, and as he sinks, he does the little thumbs up, just like in Terminator 2.
You do the Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where you're snapping, you're like, shh.
Yeah.
Pointing at the camera, that meme that came out.
Yes. So fun little reference. Obviously, the developers put that in there because of Terminator 2.
That's great.
But,
Terminator 2 definitely deserves a spot on this list because he is the ultimate protector, and I wish they were available. Robots. I mean, AI is taking over, and it's just a matter of time before you have walking robots like iRobot that protect you.
Yeah. I wonder, man. We'll have to talk. We'll have to do an episode about robots and androids and cyborgs pretty soon.
Yeah, we might have to. Very, very soon.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now. Only at Bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at Bartesian.com/cocktail.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
I have to talk about this. We tend to not get to our games in our episodes sometimes, so I gotta mention this at least for a little bit. That there's Dishonored, came out in 2012. It's a series, Dishonored, and then there's some DLC, and then there's Dishonored 2. Dishonored 1, the first one, is about being a protector and failing at that, and then having to redeem yourself. But basically, Dishonored, it's a fantasy action stealth game. It takes place in a fictional world where it's like a post-industrial era.
Yeah,
right.
It's like post-industrial muskets and swords and daggers. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, very little bit of steampunk inspired weapons too. A lot of gears and spring-loaded attack type stuff. But you are Corvo, who is he's the bodyguard to the Empress. And I think it's Jessamine Caldwell is the Empress, and you are her protector. And in the very opening minutes of the game, she gets assassinated, and you get blamed for it. You get blackmailed for it, or framed for it. So the game starts off, you're in prison, and then you get some help to get out. You find that there's this resistance against the people who have perpetrated the assassination of the Empress and taken over the government. So you fight alongside them, and you do all these different missions, and along the way you get some supernatural abilities from this guy called the Outsider, and he kind of lives in this alternate dimension, and he kind of imbues you with these powers to kind of stealth around and jump from place to place, and you get all sorts of other cool abilities. So the game is really a lot of fun. It's first person, stealth, action, in all the levels. The great thing is that each level there's multiple ways to achieve your objective. There's usually like a cruel, kind of a darker way to achieve the objective. There's kind of the stated way to achieve the objective. And then there's like a special kind of even like gold star way to achieve your mission objective. And if you can get all those gold stars, or depending on which ending you want, it changes the ending depending on which, how you slice it. So there's a bit of choice that you have in there, but it's cool. It's a bit of a redemption story. Halfway through the game, you end up rescuing the Empress's daughter, who is a big part of the story. And then halfway through the game, you get betrayed by the people that you're working with, because they say, well, we're going to take over now. Now that you've eliminated all our enemies, we're going to eliminate you and get rid of the evidence. And now we're going to establish ourselves as the new leaders. Yeah. So they kidnap the daughter, Elizabeth, I think it's Elizabeth Caldwell. But anyway, the last mission. Emily Caldwell. There you go.
And fun fact about her, it's voiced by Hit Girl. Chloe Grace Moretz plays the voice actor.
Oh, cool.
From Kick-Ass. Yeah, Carrie.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Super fun. The last mission is you having to rescue her from this giant island fortress. It's a great level because it's very well laid out, where you can pretty much slice it any way you want to, depending on which abilities you want to use. If you want to go loud, you want to go quiet. I always love doing that. So it gives you kind of
free choice.
It gives you free choice. And so really great game. The second one is just as good, if not a little bit better in some ways. There's
well, that's good to hear. Usually sequels, they're fighting.
Sometimes, yeah, it can be hit or miss, but it's the same basic gameplay, expanded, of course, but you are now Emily Caldwell, who is the Empress, and you get a choice in the beginning where to play either as her, or you can play as Corvo again. And so the game is it's like basically you can play 2 different games if you want to, and so it's good. And then there's the same kind of choice branching path where depending on how you play the game, you get kind of either like a darker ending or more of a lighter ending, because she's questioning, if you play as Emily, she's questioning, what kind of person am I going to be? Like, I've been trained by Corvo, but I want to be like my mother. She's trying to guide me. Like, her spirit, your mother's spirit kind of comes back and guides you along the way. So it's more of like what kind of person am I going to be kind of thing. So,
I got you. No, I remember when this game came out, because I remember watching the trailer, and it looked pretty cool. You can, like, get different armor, too, right, as Corvo?
Different armor. Ooh, I've been a long time since I played the first one. I actually have. Is there
like character customization?
I don't think there's character customization. I just think there's branching paths with the powers that you can choose from.
Well, yeah, I remember when it came out, watching the trailer, because it came out in 2012, so over a decade ago. Which 2012 to me feels like it was 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm glad you threw that in there, just because we haven't talked about video games in a hot minute. But that's a good one, man. I'll have to check that one out when I finally get a console. When I get around to it.
It's on Steam now too, but yes, you got to check it out, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let me ask you: have you ever seen Unleashed with Jet Li?
I love that movie. So good.
Let's talk about that one, man. That one looks really cool. I wanted to talk about it after the Iron Protector, because it's kind of on the martial artists.
Oh, that's what you were about to say before I rudely cut you off.
Yep, exactly. Yep. I'm glad you caught on. I'm glad you caught on. But yeah, Unleashed, that was like, one of Jet Li's big films, I think.
Yeah. And it's interesting that they were still able to utilize his physical abilities, but in a different way on this one. Because he doesn't play a trained martial artist in this movie.
Yeah, no.
He plays, go ahead and tell people kind of the basic premise.
Okay, so basically, there is a crime boss, Bart, and he raises an orphan, Danny, with no knowledge of anything other than how to fight, using him as an enforcer when debts must be collected. Planning to enter Danny into a fight tournament and retire with the prize money, Bart disappears after a deadly drive-by shooting, and then Danny flees and takes shelter with the piano turner, Sam. Away from Bart's abusive control, Danny learns how to live like a human and begins investigating his past. So basically, Danny's Jet Li's character, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and he's...
Bob Hoskins is in it. He's a great actor. He plays the crime boss.
Yeah, who is the crime boss?
Bob Hoskins, that's Super Mario, man, from the Mario Brothers. Yeah. And then he plays the crime boss who has control of Danny, but then when he loses him, he goes and meets the piano guy, which is Morgan Freeman, who plays a blind character. And then his character, or his stepdaughter, rather, Carrie Condon, plays Victoria. She's the other girl who helps her out.
Yeah, and Jet Li's character, he's like always wearing this collar around his neck.
Yep, the collar.
And that's kind of like what keeps him in check. But when you take the collar off, that's when he like goes crazy and is like a fighting martial artist, right?
Yeah, that's like his trigger. And they use him well, because the fight scenes, it's not like he's doing different martial arts or kung fu styles. He just goes crazy and jumps all over the place and slams into people and hits them, and kicks them. It's very like animalistic, I think, in a lot of the choreography. Yeah,
it's definitely. I mean, it's done well for like a martial artist film. Like the cinematography is really cinematic. Like. And everything about the film is super cool. And you feel bad for Jet Li's character, because he, even though he's such this animalistic fighter, he's like always wearing rags, and he like he basically looks like an indentured slave in a way.
Yeah.
And he's just used for his martial artist, powers. But he starts to make that transition, and I'm watching a little bit of the like a little scene right now, and he just takes off his collar, and you just see the character switch, and he's like takes off the collar. He's almost like a pit bull,
Yeah.
And then he's wrecking these dudes right now. Look at that, yo.
It's great because one of the it's kind of a sad thing. It's almost like Reek from Game of Thrones, Alfie Allen's character, where you could just be so completely torn down
by his captor,
by your captors, that you can actually, it's almost like they can take away your humanity. And that's what he did. That's what he does in the movies. He takes away his humanity, just uses it. That's why he calls him dog and puts a collar on him. And so it's a great journey for Jet Li's character, where he ends up finding this family that he never had. And so that's the protection part, where because the Bob Hoskins comes back and he tries to bring him back into his old life, but Jet Li's not having it. And so he's forced to protect Morgan Freeman and Carrie Condon's characters against the mobsters. And
but let's I think we got time for one more here. Let's end it strong with Man on Fire.
Oh, we got to talk about Man on Fire.
We have to talk about this before we do our game here.
That's one of those that, like, for me, I feel like this is a very manly movie, because I think that there is something inside most men about protecting people,
especially protecting innocence.
Innocence, protecting children. And I think it was the perfect combination of Denzel Washington, and then I forget the actress's name, but
Dakota Fanning.
There you go. Yeah, and it's like she was a great child actress.
Oh yeah, heyday. Dakota Fanning was like top of her game for child actors for some time, early 2000s.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, with special appearances by Christopher Walken, who is amazing. Mark Anthony, Mickey Rourke's in it, Rhoda Mitchell. Yeah, but basically, basic premise is he's a former CIA operative. He's really he's kind of on the verge of like suicide. He has nothing to live for. I forget what his motivation is, but he takes this job, and he's totally. The job is basically to protect. It's in Mexico City, which has a high rate of kidnappings, and he gets hired by this famous or rich family. Mark Anthony and Rhoda Mitchell are the husband and wife, and the daughter is played by Dakota Fanning, and he is totally distanced from her. Like, he doesn't like talking to her, and she tries to kind of work on him a little bit to kind of build a relationship, and eventually she tries to wear him down. He doesn't want to have any connections with anybody, you know.
Yeah. Which, I mean, is totally understandable, because that's something I wanted to talk about a little bit, just scratch on it earlier, which was like, I think the hardest thing about doing any type of like executive protection and like / bodyguard thing is, and this was when we were talking about like the bodyguard and having like relations with, you know, clients and whatnot, but not only, you know, physical relations, but just connection to where you become part of the family.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you draw the line between professionalism and like actually knowing these people? Because realistically, you're being paid to protect them. Mm-hmm. That's it, right? You don't
put your life on the line. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to. And that was always a problem for me, because I consider myself a very personable guy. So like sometimes, you know, I would feel myself trying to get too close and learning too much about my clients and like being too friendly, when my job was literally just to keep them safe. Mm-hmm. So then you know, there's this fine line that you have to figure out. And I think that's the most challenging part, is like, where is my line of professionalism when it comes to being, you know, because you're with these people every day. You have meals with them. You take them everywhere you need to know. They tell you their problems, you know, and it's like, okay, well, what do I do with this information? Like, do I become vulnerable with them when my job is literally not to be vulnerable and just protect them at all costs?
Yeah.
Or do, you know, I open up to them and make them, you know, trust me, because they have to and like, how do you trust another person? Well, that person needs to open up to you, and you need to connect on some vulnerable level. And that honestly is, you know, a great relationship to have, but you can't forget that you're literally being paid to protect them. Mm-hmm. So like, where do I draw that line? But I think that's the most challenging part about, you know, being protection.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can, with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now. Only at Bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at Bartesian.com/cocktail.
I think that's cool, man. I think that's what a lot of these movies that we're talking about today touch on, you know, where that line is. And Man on Fire is, I mean, it definitely, it hits on exactly what you're talking about, you know, because he is despondent. He's an alcoholic. He's on the verge of suicide. But then on one hand, he doesn't have to get to know her at all. Like, it's just a job for him. But on the other hand, the relationship that they begin to form starts to give him something to live for, right?
Yeah, and
he has,
entire the family is murdered, right?
No, she gets kidnapped. You know, he tries to protect her. She gets kidnapped, and he gets shot and injured, and then he's actually a suspect. And then it's a ransom thing, but then even that goes wrong, and there's somebody called The Voice, a part of this kidnapping ring. And he says, you're never going to see her again. And so John Creasy decides to go on kind of a one-man mission to go and find her. And he just starts laying waste to people. Like there's the scene where the dude, he puts the C4 up the guy's butt.
Yep,
he's like, I got some C4 in there. And he's like, and if you don't tell me what I want to know. And I think the guy even tells him what he wants him to know, and he blows him up anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like he just is not stopping.
I mean, Denzel Washington is a great actor, and I oftentimes forget that he is an action star because he's such a good actor, and he does these like amazing motivational speeches. Have you ever sin him do motivational speaking?
Yeah, like at
graduation
speeches. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like they're amazing, you know. And I oftentimes lose. I always think of him as more of this like motivational figure than an action star because, you know, he was in, you know, obviously Man on Fire. He was the Equalizer. He was like all these big, and then he was also in what's that one movie? Where
the Equalizer?
It's not Amnesia, but it's like what's it called when you think you've seen something before?
Oh, Deja Vu.
Deja Vu. Remember Deja Vu?
I don't remember. No.
Yeah, he's in Deja Vu. It's an action movie.
Well, there was the other one with a very young Russell Crowe. I never saw Deja Vu, but I saw, what was the...
yeah, he's also Training Day.
Yeah, Training Day. Yeah, he has done quite a few action movies. What was the site? You guys at home?
Oh, The Book of Eli?
The Book of Eli is great. Oh my God, that's such a good one. But it was a sci-fi one back in the early days. It was one of the first times you ever saw Russell Crowe in anything. But he was like, Russell Crowe plays a Virtuosity. There you go, Virtuosity. Where it's the future and there's like a criminal simulation played by Russell Crowe that actually ends up getting into real life. There's like this, like some gel, structural gel that it gets turned into a human form, and then Russell Crowe takes it on, and he's like in the real world now. And so he's this perfect criminal because he's done all these simulations that they run through with Denzel Washington in like VR. But then he comes into the real world and he just wreaks havoc, and he goes after Denzel Washington's character because he is the cop that he's always been fighting against in the simulations. And so, you know, he's supposed to know all these tricks and everything. And Denzel Washington has to take him out. It's really, it's fun. It's not the best movie, but both Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington, of course, are amazing.
Yeah. No, very, very gifted actor. There you go. And he's in quite a few military movies too, like Crimson Tide. He's,
Yep.
Where else is he? He also was in. What else?
Well, the Equalizer series, which I have not seen any of them, but those are action movies.
Oh yeah,
but
he's he's like an action drama dude.
Yeah,
and he's very good at what he does. I think that's the point we're trying to make.
Yes, Denzel Washington is very good at what he does, and I think I appreciate whenever a high level actor chooses to do like a genre film. For, you know, Patrick Stewart choosing to do Star Trek and X-Men, he's like a trained actor. Denzel Washington, same thing, chooses to do these action movies, so I just appreciate because they kind of elevate the medium a little bit because you know there are a lot of bad action movies out there.
Yeah. But you don't have to be a good actor to be a good action star. You know?
There you go. And I didn't know that Antoine Fuqua that's probably a big reason why he did it. Antoine Fuqua is the director of the Equalizer series, so there's probably got to be some really good aspects to it. I mean, obviously there's 3 of them, so
Yeah.
So I should probably check those out.
Yeah, the first one's really good. You should check it out. It's very John Wick-esque.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Like very efficient moving and very precise kind of action.
He kills people with a pencil and a pen. And he always like he'll check his watch and he'll be like, look at his watch. He'll be like, 15 seconds. And everyone's like, what? And then he'll kill everybody in 15 seconds. And, yeah, but ending it on that note, we had some good ones on this list. We hope we, shared a couple bodyguard / executive protection movies that may have not been on your radar. So check them out if you're interested. But we have a fan question before we move on to our game. And this one comes from Tom B. Tommy Boy on Instagram. And he was wondering, very appropriate, what are your thoughts on veterans working in security? Do you guys have any experience in this industry? Love the show and keep rocking on.
You keep rocking on, Tommy B.
You keep rocking on, Tommy Boy. But I think we totally answered this question in this episode.
You kind of started the episode talking about your experiences and then what we generally thought about veterans in the industry.
Like it was a good transition. Tommy, I think we totally answered your question already, man. So I'm just gonna say, I worked in security and I think it's a great transition. It's an easy transition. Love you and you keep rocking on. Answer. There you go.
Perfect. Let's do our game, man.
Let's do our game, yeah.
All right, I'm the game master for this one. Cameron, this game is very simple. A simple game for a simple man.
I am a simple man.
It's called Protect Your Neck.
Protect your neck.
Protect your neck and the rest of your body, hopefully. Everyone knows that the Secret Service protects the President of the United States, but it's more specifically the Presidential Protective Division of the Secret Service. So, I'm going to give you the name of other presidential guards, and you have to tell me what country they're from. This game is not easy. Can't even joke about it. It's very hard. It's going to be very hard.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it, man. A simple game for a simple man that ends in complete mental devastation. I am ready whenever
simple
you
does
are.
not equal easy. All right, this is the warm-up. The Kremlin Regiment.
The Kremlin Regiment is out of Russia.
Perfect. See, it's not going to be that hard, man. But that's only the warm-up.
You know how many countries there are?
There's probably like over 12.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to find out.
You're right. I mean, there's 195, but yeah, over 12 is a correct statement. And more than 5, definitely. More than 5.
Most of them have presidential protections too. So
yeah, okay. Well,
all right.
It's just a 1 in 195 chance to guess right.
There you go, man. See, not too bad.
I like those odds.
This first question, or the first section, is Presidential Guard Battalion. It's so
Love
generic.
It's so generic.
That could be literally
Presidential
any country in the world.
Guard protection. Well, the thing is, I have to decipher which countries have presidents, which countries have dictators.
Oh, fair,
Some countries don't have presidents.
Yeah.
They have kings, they have monarchs, they have dictators.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Prime
help me
ministers,
anyways. Yeah. Presidential Protection Brigade. Plus,
I'll give you a hint. El Presidente Guard Battalion.
Oh, is it Mexico?
No, it's not Mexico.
Okay, well, I mean, what percent of the world speaks Spanish? Like 50?
You're right. That wasn't much of a hint.
That was a terrible hint. Can I revert? I'm just going to say like Brazil.
Oh my God, that's right.
Okay. Nice.
There you go. You got it, Cameron. I shouldn't be giving you hints. I'm throwing you off.
Yeah, you're throwing me off, man. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I got it wrong because I said Mexico, but I'll take a half a point for my revert.
Yeah. All right, we'll give you a half a point for that one. We're going to give you every advantage we can, Cameron. All right.
That was a total shot in the dark. I'm like, big country in Latin America, but Brazil.
All right, let's do the next one. See if we can get the next one. La Moneda Palace Guard.
La Moneda, France.
It's actually Chile.
Chile. What?
La Moneda.
Okay. I thought you said it in like a French accent.
It's right. La Moneda Palace Guard.
Palace Guard. Yeah.
It's getting really stereotypical.
So I guess Chile.
La Moneda. Yeah, Chile. Chile's the second one. You got it wrong. Let's move on to the next one. President's Bodyguard.
Oh my God. President's Bodyguard. So simple. So simple.
So
Chris,
vast.
you're an asshole. President's Bodyguard. You know what? I'm just going to do a shot in the dark and say Ireland.
That's a pretty good guess, man. It's wrong, but it's a pretty good guess. It's India, actually.
India. Okay. Well, yeah, this game is going to be a complete massacre.
Let's move on to the next. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get it over
Let's just
with.
get through it, man.
Regiment of Presidential Security.
I'm going to say England.
That's a good guess. Also wrong. Burkina Faso? Wait, what?
What'd you call me?
I don't even know what country. Hold on. What Burkina Faso? I don't know what country that is.
What president?
Is that a city state? Burkina
What's it
Faso,
called?
country in West Africa.
What? I didn't even know that was a country.
It's a country. Hey, it's a country in West Africa. Read a book, Cameron.
Yeah, get cultured, you swine.
Burkina Faso. It's like next to Mali, Benin, Ghana.
I don't even know how to spell that, so I can't even Google it.
Liberia, Nigeria. Yeah, it's like I didn't even know this country existed, Chris. Thanks a lot. I feel bad now.
Let's see, Single Gambani. Oh yeah, Burkina Faso. What? Right between Benin and Côte d'Ivoire. And
go. Like
Ghana's
you do.
to the south. Well,
I
great.
want to go there now. I want to know what natural resources and natural beauties they have in Burkina Faso.
Yeah, it's pretty big too. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
like Switzerland.
Okay.
All right, team. Last one. Oh wait, no, we got two more, Cam. Let's just get it over with. All right, let's do it. Presidential Security Group.
I'm gonna pull up a world map really quick.
Yeah, pull up a world map. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Presidential Security Group.
Okay. Can I zoom? Zoom. Presidential Security Group. There's so many countries out there. Presidential Security Group. Why not? Canada.
Very good, Cameron. You're wrong, but I just want you to know you're doing very well. It's the Philippines.
The Philippines, of course. Completely wrong side of the world, but...
Oh, Cameron. Okay, last one. Let's just do it, man. Let's go for it. 1st Regiment of Foot Infantry, National Presidential Escort Regiment.
Oh, this has to be some like super primitive country because they have to add a bunch of words.
Yeah, they got to pump themselves up by giving it a fancy name.
Yeah, let me zoom into Africa here. I'm just gonna go with let's go with the Congo.
The Congo. I need to actually hold on. I don't know where this country is actually. I think I do, but okay, all right. That's wrong. It's Bolivia. It's
Bolivia. Okay. Yeah.
I got to think of the cocaine. That Bolivian cocaine.
The Bolivian cocaine. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, Bolivia. That's Ghost Recon Wildlands. All right.
Yeah, that's in western.
Yeah, Peru. It's surrounded by
Bolivia.
Peru, Brazil, Paraguay, Chile. It's kind of in the middle
Bolivia.
left.
Yeah, I knew it. Had to be a country that's small that needs to sound important.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Cameron, you did not do very well at all.
I'm just sitting here floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on my half a point board, just hoping that some freightliner comes and rescues me.
I'm telling you, I mean, at least Chris was nice enough to let you know that it was not easy. I mean, I wouldn't have done any better. You actually got Brazil,
Yeah, that was, like I said, 1 in 95 chance.
Right.
I like how he starts off super easy. Yeah, the Kremlin. Okay. And then it just goes presidential brigade,
Yeah. Presidential security group. President's bodyguard. Well,
thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. But most importantly, thank you, listeners, for joining in this episode. Starting off season 3, we're still close into it, and we're excited to keep pumping out stuff for you guys. Izzy, any final thoughts here?
My final thoughts are, we love you, team. Take care. Take care of yourselves, and keep listening. We got a bunch of great episodes coming your way.
Absolutely. And with that,
cue music. What's going on, everybody? You just listened to the free version of the PCFM podcast. If you want full-length versions of podcast episodes, plus much, much more, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/PCFM podcast.
That is right, Israel. If you want access to this full episode, you have to subscribe to the Fuzzy Private tier, which is our cheapest tier on Patreon at $5 a month. But if you are interested in a little bit more, we also have the Salty Sergeant tier at $8 a month and the Lifer tier at $12 a month. So hopefully we will see you there, PCFM family. Cue music.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
You've seen the sights on your TV. Now come and experience them in real life. Hi, it's Kristen Gates from iHeartMedia. Some of your favorite shows were filmed in Covington, Georgia. So come walk where the stars have walked from shows like The Vampire Diaries, The Dukes of Hazzard, and so many more. When you think of great stories and iconic films and TV sets, discover Covington and visit discovercovingtonga.com. That's discovercovingtonga.com. Take the tour and walk where the stars have walked in Covington, Georgia.